Well, we're not live, so we're still currently hosting Ari.
No, it's not. It wasn't edited yet because when I copied the other link on Discord, it overwrote the copy I did for the title. So
Can't tell if she's making an axe or a hammer. I think it's an axe. Oh, now we're live.
yep.
So now I can blame Malachi for.
Did she say it was like an axe hammer?
I don't know. It could be both. I don't know. The character had pink hair. What's it from? Fairy Tale?
No.
Pink hair? There's
Lots
a pink
of
hair
characters
character.
have pink hair.
That's
Wasn't
true.
it from My Hero Academia?
Was it?
Oh, yeah, she said she was doing the Dragon Hero.
Well, I guess we're not live anymore because now I'm watching her cut foam again.
What?
I guess we're not live anymore because now I'm watching her cut foam.
It's accurate. It is the thing that is happening.
Jeez.
I thought so. For some reason, she's got another panel in set where she's playing Shelter, which is one of my favorite music videos of all time.
Shelter.
I don't understand why we're not live, though.
We are live. We are still streaming.
Well, I mean, hate to argue with
Tristan
you.
says it's not.
I'm on P4 Podcast, and it's showing Ari. I'll refresh the page, see what happens. But it looked like we were going live. I don't know.
I got a notification that we're live.
Yeah.
Coming at you live.
I guess it decided we weren't. I guess my browser decided we weren't interesting enough. So it's
Can you
just like
capitalize
again
my
hosting
name?
Ari again.
Alright.
What?
You didn't capitalize my name.
What? I did!
Nope, you didn't.
Lowercase Joseph.
Well, it's because he's not that important.
Whoa.
He's only a special guest.
He's a little Joseph. He's not a big Joseph.
But he could
Hey.
be like the special guest Rick Guerrero.
Am I supposed to be offended by that? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
No.
I'll be offended for you.
Well, we are live. It's been established, so I guess we can start the intro.
And bada bing, bada boom.
Nice.
Oh, crap.
Bring in guests.
You
from the
forgot to
Rooster
adjust
Teeth
the volume.
community.
No, he was muted.
Player 4 has entered the game.
I think we need to do it again.
So I just re-entered the text, right, Tristan?
Pros.
Alright, guys. We're so professional.
This is the Player 4 podcast. Join us each week as we talk about video games, entertainment, and pop culture, and bring in guests from the Rooster Teeth community. Player 4
Player
has
5
entered the game.
To the game.
Why are you doing that, Joseph?
Because it's the second time I wanted to change it up.
But it doesn't need to be changed. It's perfect, apparently. We even offered for other people to record that, and no one else wanted to. So that means mine is the perfect version. Hello.
Yes.
I am your host, Shark Brazier, a.k.a. Tristan, on the Rooster Teeth website.
What?
Yeah, you heard me. Do it in that order.
I don't wanna.
I am your god!
I'm not in your D&D game anymore.
I mean, that could change at any given moment.
It probably could. Just so anyone knows, he's switching up our usernames and our names in these intros. You want to find us on the roosterteeth.com website, you have to type in the first thing we say.
I'm back. Did I miss anything?
The intros.
Yeah, because my friggin' Discord lagged and then disconnected me.
Introduce yourself, Alex.
I don't want to anymore.
Who's from Alex?
I'm Alex, a.k.a. Chaos Black Toy on.
I'm Malachi, aka Sukikibo.
Wait, you did it. Are we doing it wrong or right?
We're doing it both, apparently.
Okay.
I'm over it.
It's opposite day, and my username on the Rooster Teeth website is Joseph, but my real name is Jay Dunlap.
See, now
I'm
that's
not even
not
gonna
right.
try anymore.
Yeah. Today's been a whole bag of, oh my god,
Ish.
really? Or
A bag
what
of
the fuck?
napping.
Yeah. This
A
is all
W2F.
because everything would have been fine if Malachi wasn't asleep.
You want to know what? I had
No.
D&D last night, and then I
Me
had
too.
to be up
Yeah, three of us had
early.
D&D.
I had to be up early so that I could go to work early, get my hours, and get fingerprinted because I'm in trouble.
Yeah,
And
finger?
Uh-oh.
You're not in trouble. It's part of your background check. Don't lie to people.
yeah, I
That's enough BSing. What are our topics for today, Malachi?
there's this Kingdom of Hearts of 3, and this Punisher of Season of 2, and Joseph of MTG.
Why are you doing it that way?
Because super professional, Joseph.
Exactly.
The
Top.
quote Red versus Blue. Why you gotta make it weird?
Top men.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3, because it's been out for, what, a week now?
I think it's a week.
And Alex played enough that he can give us more than just hype. He can tell us what he feels about the game as a product.
I can spoil it for everyone.
I can completely give you all the hype that I've been getting through the other people that I'm connected to.
He's going to
Sam
give
says
a
it's
spoiler-free review. I'm going to give a spoiler-free
Uh-huh.
review of Season 2 of The Punisher from Netflix.
Oh.
Talk about something that's going on in the world of magic because I'm a magic judge.
I'm going to give a spoiler-free review of Joseph playing Magic.
That works for me. Don't tell anyone if I won.
He might have won.
Alex,
What?
so you've been playing Kingdom Hearts 3.
I've dabbled.
What a coincidence. I haven't.
All right. I'm 4 worlds in. So I mean, we talked about this last week, so I don't know how much more I can add on that's not spoiler free. Or that is
literally
spoiler
add
free.
on everything that we didn't know last week.
I mean,
How do
I
have
told you
more
the
to say
controls
about
was
this?
good, and it was similar to Kingdom Hearts 2. There's new special abilities that pop up during combat.
I like the reaction commands.
Kind of like reaction, like you do enough like during the fight that then like special magic attacks or these attraction attacks, which are basically Disney World rides, appear and attack things. And special just like Keyblade, you can change your Keyblade to make it stronger during fights if you attack enough.
Oh man, can you digivolve it?
I mean, it's kind of like that, where it changes, and then you have a limited time of using it, and then it goes back to normal form.
Does
Oh man.
it start glowing really bright and get golden hair and green eyes?
Yes.
No, it's not Dragon Ball Z.
What are we talking about?
It's Dragon Ball Key.
It's very funky.
So then you got the gummy ship still to fly around. You basically, once you find a planet, then you can just fast travel to it later. But you can still fly around the space, and you can get stuff to upgrade your gummy ship. And there's enemies that you have to fight in them that come up, like they give you a little. They're essentially like little mini battle games that you do, which is basically essentially shooting other enemy ships.
I like shooting enemy ships. Do the enemy ships still just like scroll past you like they did before, or do they actually get more interesting?
What do you mean get more interesting?
Like, I mean, do they hang around and shoot at you and stuff? Because before they sort of just floated by and shot like a shot at you.
Well, so they do have enemies just out there, which are usually just like cannons that you shoot.
Okay.
But they also have enemy ships that fly around, and like basically they have little stars to tell you what their difficulty is. The highest I've seen is 5 stars, which I haven't even bothered with because I'm sure I'd get destroyed at the level my ship is at. But essentially, once you get close enough to them, then they take you to a new screen for like a little mini battle, and it's kind of like trying to remember, kind of like the kind of game, old school game like Galaga. It's whatever you know, the old school game where you have your little ship at the bottom, and then like there's enemy ships that slowly go down like from the top. It's kind of like
Space Invaders.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, only it's not top to bottom. It's like your ship is
over the shoulder.
Yeah, it's like third person over the shoulder of your ship, and the ships are coming like basically pop up in front of you and shoot them.
Yeah, I mean, so I played through Kingdom Hearts 1. I just want to know if there was any big changes from
Kingdom Hearts 1 was different because Kingdom Hearts 1 was different because it was linear. So you basically, once you got your gummy ship, it was like, okay, you're going from point A to point B.
Unless there was a portal in the middle.
Sure, I don't remember that. It's been a while since I played Kingdom Hearts 1.
You would see the portal ahead of you, and it would say if you stay to the right side of the screen, you'll go in this portal.
Okay.
And wind up somewhere else.
Well, in Kingdom Hearts 3, you can literally fly anywhere in the space that you wanted. So that's different.
Around, just bomb around in the
space.
Disney.
It's non-linear. You can go anywhere. I mean,
can you just like skip past all of the Disney worlds and go to the left?
No, until you hit the edges, and then you can't.
So it sounds a little linear, actually.
It's non-linear. The fact that it's not a set path.
Because there's walls.
There's boundaries in every game. There's boundaries. There's.
Why does space have walls?
And then there's. I wish I could have gotten to play The Story Continues and played through like all the Kingdom Hearts before this, because there's people that pop up in the cutscenes. So I'm like, I don't know who the heck this person is. I don't know who this person is.
You don't know who Ventus is? What do you mean? What are you doing playing this game?
I didn't say anything about Ventus.
I did.
But it looks amazing. It uses the Unreal Engine, and
so it does in fact say humiliation whenever you stab someone.
Oh, it does. That's not the Unreal Engine.
I mean, it was definitely part of Unreal Tournament, which used the Unreal Engine.
Not like it's not like anything that uses the Unreal Engine has to use that.
I mean, it should, though, honestly.
It's something that was made with the Unreal Engine.
I bet you feel bad that you lost.
I do. I feel bad that it doesn't say humiliation.
I want to give some impressions, because I got to see Ari start playing it last night for a little bit.
Oh.
And it looks really, really good visually. I can't say anything about the gameplay because I'm just watching someone play it, and maybe they're doing well, maybe they're not doing well. I have no idea what the comparison should be. But I do know that the graphics are really, really great to look at. The water effects, the lighting, and everything. And I did see the thing that Alex is talking about where you appear to be in a Disney ride. It was pretty cool. The end.
Yay!
Too poor to get that right now.
Visually pretty. I've been connected to lots of people via the Twitters, and I hear lots of different things about the game, good and bad and in between. I've been intrigued to hear some of the complaints, so I'd be interested to try it myself and understand where they're coming from.
Wait, what are some of the complaints? Because I lost sound, so I don't know what we talked about.
About KH3.
Well, I know. What were some of the complaints you heard?
Quality of the voice acting.
I don't. I don't know. Like, there's times where like something is blatantly like, wow, the voice acting sucks.
They phoned
like,
that in.
not specific. Not Kingdom. I'm not talking about Kingdom Hearts 3. Just talking about stuff in general. But I mean, as long as like some kind of effort is made, I haven't had any problem with the voice acting in Kingdom Hearts 3, other than the fact that Sora sounds different. But that's because it was over 10 years before we finally got it from since Kingdom Hearts 2. So the voice actor changed. Well, he's still the same, but his voice is different.
It's the same voice actor. He's just older.
Yeah, so that's the only thing that I had voice acting wise. I thought it was fine.
Wait,
but
he hit puberty, screwed him up.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like movies. I mean, just like Tristan, you and Joseph, you guys bash on some movies sometimes or whatever, and I'm just like, I enjoyed the movie. Like, it entertained me. That's really all that matters to me.
Yeah, see, we do this thing called critiquing, which is very different from bashing.
Everything's fine. No need to criticize anything. I'm being sarcastic, of course, because I, like Alex, will enjoy a movie for its enjoyable qualities, but I will also break down what about a movie could have been better.
I mean, it's important, I think, to understand what a movie accomplished.
I got
and how well it did it.
I got a critique for it.
Okay.
Could have came out 8 years ago.
Specifically 8.
I mean, they instead released 15 other games that were small snippets of story that are tangentially and less tangentially related. So, I mean, I played Kingdom Hearts 1, I played Chain of Memories, and I played halfway through Kingdom Hearts 2. So that's about the extent of my understanding of the everything.
Anything else about Kingdom Hearts?
I'm good.
I'm gonna get to see it this weekend when I go visit Sam.
I like how Alex gave the review, but Malachi's good.
I'm not good. I want more, but I'll have to wait for it. I'm a patient person.
I think Alex said everything he wanted to say, and hopefully I won't make him say something every week, but definitely a few weeks from now, maybe when he's finished the game, he can give us a full, just like, here are my thoughts on the game.
Yeah.
More like what the gameplay felt like rather than what the story was.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'll take your silence as tacit agreement.
I said,
Yeah, I that's why I said I was going to say it. I didn't actually say it.
I will say it. Quietude is tacit agreement.
Quietude. Speaking of quietude, I was watching Netflix recently.
Oh, that was a mistake.
It's a segue.
Really?
And I was watching. Yes, it is. I was watching The Punisher season 2, and very, 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 very much enjoyed it.
Did he punish people?
Oh, very much so. I don't know who out there who was listening either on Twitch or on YouTube or on iTunes has seen it, but here is the experience of watching Punisher seasons 0 through 2, as we'll call it. Punisher's segments in Daredevil season 2 were really, really good. In fact, I enjoyed those more than the Hand subplot with Elektra. I really considered the Hand plot to be a hand subplot. I felt like the Punisher outshone most of the story, but Matt Murdock was still the more compelling character. And then the Punisher season 1 happened, and it felt like a season 2. And it's because Punisher already got a season 1. When I say it felt like season 2, can you think of some shows I might be talking about?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is much later season than that, right?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think their season 3 felt like a season 2. where not much was really happening that was interesting. I'm also thinking about Walking Dead season 2. Not much happened. You always get that season 2 or season 3. In the case of the Punisher, it's its first season because its first actual season was Daredevil season 2. And
Wait, wasn't Walking Dead season 2 them living on a farm?
yes, not much
I
happened.
liked that season.
I mean, there were good character moments, and Shane was by far the best. And thank you for tying back into
The Punisher. You're welcome. Because I watched The Punisher and I just go, it's Shane. This is Shane after he leaves The Walking Dead, literally reincarnated into this.
I mean, when I found out it was going to be him, I was like, that is perfect. That's the guy I want to be Punisher.
I forget who played the Punisher in the movie. Oh well.
Oh, the bad one?
I don't remember it being super bad one. I remember that John Panette was in it as a comedy relief side character who had like 2 scenes.
So to conclude my prelude to the review of season 2, season 1 was, I wouldn't call it disappointing, just not an awful lot of him punishing anyone. There's just a lot of him being covert and hanging out with, well, I can't spoil anything, hanging out with parties with whom he is involved, as opposed to getting his guns and going and shooting some people like he did in Daredevil. Season 2 fixed that. That's what I'll say. So there's I'm not gonna spoil anything because it's just references to things in the actual trailer for season 2. So we've got the guy with the mask that's I believe in the comics he's referred to as Jigsaw, and I don't think he really calls himself that in the show because that's a thing that Netflix and Marvel in general does. They don't have characters call themselves by what they actually are. For example, Scarlet Witch. But Jigsaw's in there. He wears a mask sometimes that he drew like fragments of a puzzle on because his face was all scarred up by Frank Castle in the previous season. They had a big old fight.
A very angry person.
I mean, yeah, he's got this he's got the perfect Marine voice too. Whenever he does his like dog bark. So when that plot's going on, there's also I was watching it. I was halfway through and I saw a thing on Twitter, and it was people being upset. No one I care about, but people being upset that the bad guy in Punisher season 2 was alt-right. And I thought about it and I was like, I guess you can interpret it that way. All I'm seeing is religious extremism. I'm not even seeing any political affiliation, but I guess you could see it that way. It's just, it was never really said, this guy's alt-right, we should shoot them all. It was just a character with a backstory, with a motivation, and he's basically being manipulated and sort of brainwashed by a group of religious extremists. That's how I interpreted it. Now, the funny thing about that character, he's sort of this, I don't know, he sounds like the Godfather, honestly. I can't watch the show and not think Godfather whenever he talks. So he's, I guess, originally some sort of, I don't know, Italian mobster guy.
So
but he's got kind of a cool character arc because you get to know more and more about him as the series goes on. So we have Jigsaw trying to remember what happened to him. And then we have this mobster who's reformed and now killing people for religious extremists. And then we have Frank, who at the beginning of the season is just bored out of his mind. He doesn't know what he wants to do, and he basically just clings to the first person he can come across that needs help. That's essentially what happens in early on in the first step. And then he just sort of rides that world to take him so he can keep hurting bad guys. And it just goes from there.
Hurting bad guys is kind of fun, I guess.
That's his thing. So, overall, I got towards the end of the season. I looked at the amount of episodes left and went, really? I'm almost done? Now, I say that because when I Luke Cage season 2, which felt like the most season 2ist of season 2s. I don't know if I just cut out or not. My thing wasn't lining up.
Luke Cage is the most season 2ist of season 2s.
Yeah, like got halfway through it and went, are we done yet? It was like watching that one Transformers movie that we watched at RTX one time where I sat down to watch it with Tony, and I said, "Is this the end? Is this the climax?" And he said, "No, we're only like 30 minutes into the movie."
That's bad.
It's like the
Every
season
10
2ist
minutes.
of season 2s that ever season 2'd.
Yeah.
Well-
OG season 2, man.
This was the other way to do a season 2, which is you never really know when we're coming towards anything important because everything feels important, and that was Luke Cage season 2. Simultaneously, nothing happened really, and it kept feeling like we were heading towards something big that never happened, or something big would happen and immediately we'd move on to something else. So I felt like halfway through we could have ended it, but it kept going and it kept going. So 9 comes around. Okay, now this is interesting because we have Iron Fist making a cameo. 10 comes around. Are we done yet? And I have 2 more episodes to go. And with the Punisher, I could have had this plotline carry over into another season. That's how intriguing the entire thing was, and just how well this actor is able to carry this series, same way that the actor in Daredevil is able to carry the series. So there's my review. Amazing viewing experience. I am very upset at Disney for taking this away from us, but I have hopes that maybe it's not a bad ending after all to Netflix Marvel. So there we go.
I mean,
That's the last.
that is a thing to mention, is that it seems that all of a sudden all the Netflix Marvel are going by the wayside.
And that's
Kind of feels
because
like it.
Before.
they purposely doing it, or like no interest in the market.
No. So Disney has a streaming service,
Yeah. Oh,
and they're taking their properties off of Netflix. Right? They're canceling them, and they're going to put them onto their streaming service, and I think continue them.
so they're bending their partnership with Netflix almost.
Yes, they're going to move it all over to their service, and I don't think 3 out of those 5 properties needed to end, and I think the 2 weakest ones. I didn't think I would ever say that about Luke Cage, but the 2 weakest ones need to just get combined into Heroes for Hire.
That sucks.
Oh,
I'm actually
completely
kind
forgot.
of that hearing that Disney is starting its own streaming service, because you know, a lot of the films that I watch on Netflix these days are owned by Disney.
I mean, we're at a point where Disney just needs to buy Netflix and then use it because almost everything on there is Disney because Disney owns everything.
Yeah. It's
I mean,
just the problem with monopolies.
We're getting to a point where it might need to be a monopoly that gets split, but that's an entirely different topic. I was just going to say one more thing. I forgot Defenders was a thing, and I really don't think we need a season 2. Season 1 was fun or something.
Or something.
I don't think we need more of it. I think the characters are better off separated unless we can have some other reason to put them together. Maybe do it every other year or every 3 years or something.
What?
What's going on?
I don't understand. You keep saying that like season 1 was fun, and you were like you wanted to talk about it, but I don't know what it is.
Of the Defenders?
Defenders.
Yeah,
That's
that's
Marvel.
what
I didn't hear you say that word before. I only heard you wanted to talk about something that didn't need a season 2, and I never heard what it was.
Oh, he said it, yeah.
That is, I was going to say my bad, but that's Discord's bad. So now I'm done talking. Now it's time for the next topic. That's me talking.
Okay.
This is just a quick.
And he might have won. Click
No.
here to find out. The
Topic
ending
that-
will amaze you.
Stop it.
No.
This is just a wrap up topic here because occasionally we give real life updates, but it sort of ties into a bigger discussion that I'm going to summarize for anyone who is interested in the world of e-gaming and specifically card games, specifically the best one out there. So, as a Magic judge, I am excited because I get to judge my first event in about a month, and that's coming off of 2 straight seasons of being a head judge for preliminary Pro Tour qualifiers, which are anywhere from, on average, 20 people to 50 people. My biggest one was 31 players. My lowest one was 12, which was not good. These are events that are run at local stores where you would go to buy D&D, dice, books, cards, all those things. That's where you would go, local game store. And we would have these events at those stores to bring in customers. and you have a staff of 1 to 3 judges depending on the size of it. And the head judge has to be a level 2 certification out of 3 certification levels. Level 2, typically, I mean, it took me about 6 months to get. Usually it takes about a year and a half. So you bring in the customers, and then whoever wins it gets an invitation to a regional Pro Tour qualifier, which then qualifies them for the Pro Tour. Now, I'm going to leave that explanation to the side. That's what I spent 2 straight seasons of doing, which is quarterly seasons because of every set that comes out. So I haven't gotten to judge in a while. So I'm excited. I get to go to Dallas and judge a Star City Games Open. So that's fun. I get to actually, for the very first time, actually be a floor judge for the Open itself and not side events and smaller, somewhat large but smaller events on Sunday that are almost of equal importance, but not quite. So this is my first time ever getting to be on the main event staff, and on Sunday I get to work on a classic, which I often do. Those are more like a double PPTQ sort of event, depending on the formats. Modern tends to be about 150 to 200 players. Standard is just over 100, and then if there's Legacy, it tends to be the size of a PPTQ or a preliminary Pro qualifier.
Make that money.
I mean, it's a net profit because it's in Texas, and all I have to do is drive 2.5 hours and spend the weekend at my mentor's house. So there's that. So Brandon's going to be there as well, so that'll be fun. And on my team on Saturday is a friend of mine who actually support her drawing on Patreon. So that's going to be fun. All of that out of the way. Malachi, how long do we have?
A few minutes.
Okay. Anyone who's interested. I'm sorry, Tristan?
I need to ask Malachi how he can tell, because the Streamlabs OBS doesn't have a stream timer like the old one did.
It does.
His phone.
No, it does. When you go live and you're on the the tab that's called, it doesn't show me.
Okay, we can see that.
We could talk to it later. Yes, I'll let you know later.
No, I wanted to know.
Just so I can get this out of the way before we end, and I don't lose everyone who's listening. We do actually have a few people on Twitch right now. If you want to say hi, go ahead and say hi. We'll give you a little wave or a shout out or something.
We'll give you a wave that you can't actually see because.
Sure. I mean, it's the thought that counts. Okay, you can tell us with Kingdom Hearts, Punisher, but in the world of esports, there's been a lot going on in Magic: The Gathering, and it's a cause of a combination of excitement for the game and trepidation on the part of most judges. That's how we'll start this little part of the story. So I mentioned preliminary Pro Tour qualifiers, regional Pro Tour qualifiers, and since I think the second year of the game, the Pro Tour. People have called it the professional tour, the promotional tour, but I believe that the official stance is just pro. Don't read into it. It's just pro. It's like RTX doesn't mean Rooster Teeth Expo. It's just RTX. It doesn't mean anything. I believe that the most recent interpretation was that it is, in fact, the professional tour. It's just for a while it felt like it was the promotional tour more than focus on the professional players. So in the past year or so, Magic Arena came out. I think it was not that long ago, 6 months or so at the most. And Arena is what was needed to have dynamic gameplay that was sustainable in the long run, but also Magic: The Gathering. So anyone who's ever played, say, Duels of the Planeswalkers remembers that, and that it would come out for a given set or for a year or something based off the year, and then it would stop, and there'd be a new one, and it'd be a new pool of cards, and then that one would stop, and there'd be a new one. And it's legitimately, if you go on Steam, a different video game for almost every year. It was fun to play because it was Magic. You back me up on that, Malachi. It's fun to play, but there was no reason to if you were actually serious about the game. It was more of a tool for learning the basics, and then you would move on from there.
Yes, it's more of the standard set that's out right now. You don't get to play a lot of the older stuff for some of the other formats. It's more of just a basic, this is what's out currently, this is the play style, enjoy, get to know it.
Yeah, and then the card acquisition system was not unique. It was just, it worked. It was, you play, you get points, and then you spend those points on packs, and you open those packs, and you get cards,
Well,
and you make your decks better.
you also use points to do drafts and stuff.
Yeah. I didn't get to play that much, so if you got to draft, that's pretty neat. Drafting is always fun. So, the other alternative was, of course, you had to buy Magic the Gathering online. MTGO, otherwise known as Moto, and I don't know what that stands for, so don't ask. Don't ask, Tristan. So don't ask. He's thinking about it. No! And Magic the Gathering Online has been called tongue-in-cheek by some streamers the Magic the Gathering spreadsheet, or Magic the Spreadsheeting, because it looks like it's straight out of 1998. In the update, it's never been really visually updated. It's just, it's making money. We might as well just.
I mean, it's called the spreadsheetening.
No, you're not referring to Magic, or you're referring to the fappening.
The fappening.
Whoa.
Wait.
No, that's a thing, Tristan, and we're not talking about it.
Why'd you bring it up then? I thought we
You
were
brought
going to
it up.
talk about whatever it is.
I'm going to gaslight
happening.
you. Anyway, Magic the Spreadsheeting was
Spreadsheeting.
how do I put it? It was a necessary evil for anyone who wanted to play test. So Wizards knew they're going to give us money. Now, the upside of playing it was your cards never devalued like they do on paper. The reason that cards devalue on paper is for one reason. The only people willing to buy them from you tend to be people who are going to then sell it. So they're going to buy for a lower value, get a trade-in, and then give you either cash at usually 50% or store credit at a slightly increased rate. The reason for that is so that they can turn over that product. The only alternative being on paper that you can open up your own TCG Player account and then sell that way and make yourself into a store. But aside from that, only way you're going to get value out of your trading. Moto does not have that because there are bots that you can trade with that are associated with different retailers that will almost give you market value for your cards, and then they'll just turn cards all day. And anyone who's ever been part of an online, like an auction house in World of Warcraft or something, it's not the profit per transaction, the profit per day. So they're still making a profit. But Moto was still, I mean, it would get buggy with every new set and everything. So Arena was it. It's the way to play Magic right now. So as Malachi brought up that, and if we go over time, we go over time. This is just all something I wanted to get off my chest. Magic Arena was like Duels of the Planeswalkers, that you didn't have old cards, but they're not going to ever remove the cards that have been put in it. They've programmed those cards in there. They're never leaving. They're never making a Magic Arena 2019, Magic Arena 2020. It's always going to be here. The gameplay is dynamic. It's got animations and things like Hearthstone. Some of them are quite awesome, like dragons and fire and things. So the only downside is they're not going to code in the older card. So there's already speculation there will be eventually a new format to go alongside the standard format, which is everything printed within the past 2 years with a cutoff point at the end of September. The idea is when we finally get to a point the cards from 2 years ago are going to rotate, then they'll just make that new format to be everything in Arena. So that's an easy way to do things. It's a clean cutoff point. It needed to happen because Modern is a monster at this point. The Modern format that dates back to 8th edition is just who can kill each other on turn 2 the quickest. Now, there's a lot to like about Modern. I'm not bashing Modern. But there is a need for a new, not to replace it, but to go alongside it, format. Now, all that to say, this is all because Wizards is trying to get into esports. So Arena was a great way to get into it. However, it's uncertain what their plan is because they won't tell anyone. And I'm not sure that from month to month they even know what that plan is.
It's a secret.
Is it still considered beta? Because I only see my roommate play it.
I honestly don't even know at this point. I had some time before the Christmas break last semester to play it, and I enjoyed it, but I eventually just ran out of time, and I was doing other things.
Okay, so long short, you tried it out. You thought it was their attempt to get into esports, and it seems like it's executing it pretty well.
Well, that's the beginning of the story.
Oh boy!
Because they've made announcements almost monthly that seem to conflict with each other. About 3 months ago, they said we're going to have Grand Prix still, and it was about a year before that they had given a monopoly on Grand Prix to one company. I'm not going to call them out by name. I think that my views on whether or not that should have happened are irrelevant, but it is. But
I know
you
it-
only know that because of retweets and stuff from me and
Hey,
Ian.
knowing things is the important part. Doesn't matter how.
All right, continue.
Yeah, so one company got the monopoly on Grand Prix, which means that the only other big company doing things is Star City Games, who I'm working for this weekend. That in itself is another issue that I'm not going to talk about right now. But the big thing is that they Wizards of the Coast came out and said, we're going to continue to have Grand Prix, but we're not going to call the weekend a Grand Prix anymore. Now, that's because over the course of the past few years, the Grand Prix as a brand, as an event, has morphed into something more than a Grand Prix. It's almost like a con. When I was in Grand Prix Las Vegas, the only one I've worked in ever, which was this past summer, we were noticing there were panels. There was an entire section of the convention center in the same room as everything else going on that had bleachers, I believe, and tables set up with microphones, and they were doing panels. For all I know, they were live streamed. I don't know. There was one where my good buddy Ruben was doing a D&D Magic crossover thing because they have a book for every set, for every world that the set comes out in. There's a book, so let's do 5th edition in this world. That's what the books are. And the cosplayers have become a big thing in recent years, starting with Shadows of Innistrad. Really was the bit when they really. Sorry, I hit my mic when they when that broke out. So it's become more than a Grand Prix. Now Grand Prix were already main event that lasts for 2 days. Sometimes, in the case of Grand Prix Las Vegas, 2 of them that sort of overlap across 3 days, and then a whole bunch of side events that you can enter in, and qualifiers to the Pro Tour and all kinds of stuff. So they've renamed the weekend Magic Fest. Raise your hand if you think that name already exists in many places across the world.
Probably.
I'm raising my hand.
Yeah. So, yes, I get that the brand has transcended the name. And my personal opinion is when the brand transcends the name doesn't have to change. Just like Rooster Teeth has transcended its own name, but they didn't change the name of the company. But okay, so that happened. All right. So they said, in addition, they're going to start having Pro Tour qualifiers at the Grand Prix. I'm like, oh, that's cool because so we have the preliminary Pro Tour qualifiers at small stores. We have the regional Pro Tour qualifiers that directly qualify you, that you have to get the preliminary qualification out of the way. Those are at larger stores, at metropolises. And then from there you go to the Pro Tour. Other ways to qualify are typically top 8ing a Grand Prix, or if there's a random actual Pro Tour qualifier that you just show up at. So they're going to start doing those. Okay, that's cool. Then they said, we're going to do away with the current qualification system. We're going to just have Pro Tour qualifiers at Grand Prix for now, and there's going to be a system later on where larger stores can apply to do Pro Tour qualifiers as well. Essentially what they've already been doing with the regionals. Then they said, a little bit later, we might also allow smaller stores to apply and host opens, which is already the name of Star City Games events. But the opens would be like you would go to the open, get your qualification for the Pro Tour qualifiers. And it feels at that point they're just rebranding things that already exist.
Well, it could be the fact that they were changing things and then realizing to themselves, crap, if we do that, that's really going to limit our player base to get in. And
yes, I see what you're saying, because if they kill the local store, then they kill 80 to 90%, 95% really of who plays Magic.
So that's probably what it was, is more of them being like, crap, we can't do that actually. So we're going to go possibly doing this.
Yeah, and so my theory that I've told some store owners who are worried is maybe, once they get this all sorted out, because every month we were hearing something new that was going to change, and then rebranding something and renaming something and doing away with something, is perhaps they're just rebranding the whole thing and resorting the whole thing, so stores have to reapply to do the events, and that way they can reassess, is this a story we want representing our brand? That's what I think. Now, The byproduct is the set that just came out in its Pro Tour. The qualifiers for that I was head judging ending in December, early January. But the set after that, the only way to qualify for it currently, because you always qualify a season ahead, if not more, is unknown aside from going to a Grand Prix and entering in a PTQ. So I haven't judged in about a month, when I was judging every other weekend for a solid half of a year. So it's very, very confusing. So that's why I say it's a source of trepidation for judges. Because you may still have in the back of your mind, we talked about Magic Arena. And people are worried that they're going to try to replace all competitive Magic with Arena. Now, I don't know if that's true. It's all speculation. But if that happens, then what use are the rules enforcers?
Yeah,
Now, that's not Wizards' concern because they've already separated themselves from us as a result of the lawsuit I talked about on the podcast and on Draw4 back when that was a thing. And that was a big deal, and they separated themselves from the judge program. We are contractors working for the company. Now, that's all beside the point. The main thing is, in the world of esports, Magic the Gathering is trying to stop looking like it's in 1998 and trying to have this flashy e-gaming front and try to rebrand their events to be less about the event and more about being there, which is a good start. However, no one knows what they're planning because they won't tell anyone. And aside from that, they also are cutting back this year on coverage of Grand Prix. So there was a Grand Prix that happened a few weeks ago. Some of you who follow me or other Magic players may have seen this. There's a picture someone took, and they said, hey, look, this is a Grand Prix that happened this weekend. There was no coverage of it on Twitch. There was no text coverage of it online. But just so you know, this is the final match. And it's a picture of two guys sitting at a table, a judge sitting on either side of the table next to them, a judge standing nearby, and a few players just milling about. That was the finals of the Grand Prix. And there was no coverage. No one knew who the players were until someone took the picture. No one knew what had happened all weekend. And it was just a huge step backwards for a company trying to break into esports. And the good news is, and this is the ending of the story, Channel Fireball Events, CFBE, is going to take over text coverage for the Grand Prix from now on. WotC isn't going to do it anymore. They're going to focus on the visual coverage. But people are really asking, if you want to be an esport, are you going to cover your events on Twitch? Or are there going to be weekends that you take off where an event happens and we don't get to know about it?
Kind of important to know what you are going to be privy to and what you are not.
So I hope I didn't lose anyone during that, but that's a whole lot of stuff going on in the world of gaming. And I just think that this could have far-reaching effects. We could see more of this, for better or for worse, in other areas of esports. Or we might just see Wizards of the Coast all of a sudden just join the year 2019. And suddenly this big game that's always been one of the best games ever made just break out in a big way. There's one more thing that I'm going to take 20 seconds to say is they're trying to have higher payout events. And they're renaming Pro Tour to Mythic Championships, which is one of the confusing things they were talking about having. We're going to have Pro Tour qualifiers now. We're going to redo the system, but it's not called the Pro Tour anymore. It's called the Mythic Championship. So like it was two announcements weeks apart from each other where it was maybe like a collaborative story group project sort of thing where one guy was in charge and said, we're going to redo the Pro Tour qualifier system. 2 weeks later, someone else says, we're going to call it the Mythic Championship. So everyone's just confused as all get out, but they're improving the prize payouts dramatically. We're talking among the people who get paid, you add it all together, you get $1 million sort of payouts. And people are excited about that, but they're also worried that the shift is being taken away from appearance fees and just sort of making sure if you are a Pro Tour player who has made a certain, I believe it's platinum level over the course of the year, that you get paid enough over the course of the year that you can survive on playing Magic, because then you can glamorize the lifestyle. And if you increase the prize purse, then you're no longer putting a focus on keeping pay even across all the players with appearance fees and that sort of thing, and more towards you could be the one who wins this. It could be you. And there was a commercial where I'm sorry I'm taking more than 20 seconds, but this is a lot, and I want to just get it done so we don't talk about it again. There's a commercial where they had this epic voiceover. It was the Mythic Championship. If you win, then they'll know. And it's a guy walking past these people. They'll know. Goes into the game store. She'll know. He'll know. They'll know. And the coverage of the Grand Prix was not existent, and someone made fun of that with a meme. But what it comes down to is they want it to be about you could win. Now, what they're wanting to do is bring in people from other games. So the invitations to these big events are being mixed with people who are qualifying based off of their Planeswalker points that they've earned and various events that they've qualified through. And also, hey, Hearthstone streamer, how'd you like to come and enter a chance to win $1 million? So people are simultaneously saying, well, this is exposure for the game. And also, so if I want to succeed in Magic, I should not play Magic. Is that what you're saying?
Possibly. I mean,
So-
you still need to win, so you will need to know how to play Magic. That Hearthstone streamer might get creamed.
And then one more note. I promise this is the last thing. I 100%
Keep
promise.
promising. Promises,
I mean,
promises.
No, I didn't promise yet. This is my promise. I promise. When I talked about people were worried about esports Magic being dominated by Magic Arena, people are legit worried that to qualify for Mythic Championships from now on, unless you're a famous content creator of some kind, like I believe there's some Hearthstone guys who get some insane numbers, you have to be a certain rank on Magic Arena, which means instead of just going to an event and playing well, and then going to the next one and playing well, and now you're in the Pro Tour or Mythic Championship or whatever, instead you have to spend hours upon hours just grinding. People were worried that's what it's going to come down to.
Level grind.
So, long story short, Magic's kind of a little bit of a hot mess right now.
We're at a point where it's unsure. It's hot mess is good. Also, or a tumultuous relationship. You're not certain from day to day if you're going to break up or propose. That's where we're at this point. Things could be amazing a year from now, or things could just collapse on itself.
So, you got any quick one-line wrap-up, Joseph?
I apologize for taking so much time.
Okay.
All right.
I'll
I
try
think-
to forgive you.
Is it time to get the flip out of here, then?
I think it's...
I think it is.
There was one
I
last
gotta
topic
go
that I
to
was looking at, but I guess we can hold it for next time.
All right. Well,
Sweet.
good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Hashtag goodbye.
Goodbye.
I would like